Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayantiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Canto 4, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 31. Narada instructs the Prachetas. Shloka number 5. Prachetasa Uchuhu Swagatam Te Surarashedya Dishtya no darshanam gataha Avachankaramanam Brahman Abhayaya Yatharavehe Swagatam Te Surarashedya Dishtya no darshanam gataha Tava Chankramanam Brahman Abhayaya Yatharavehe Swagatam Te Surarashedya Darshanam Gataha Tava Chankramanam Brahman Abhayaya Yatharavehe Pratesa Uchuhu Swagatam Te Surarashedya Dishyano Darshanam Gataha Tava Chankramanam Brahman Abhayaya Yatharavehe Prateshasa uchuhu. Swagatam te surarashidya. Swagatam te surarashidya. Dishyano darshanam gataha. Dishyano darshanam gataha. Tava chankramanam brahman. Yaya yatha yavehi. What word meaning? Prachetasaha uchuhu. The Prachetas said, Su agatam, welcome, te, unto you, Surarishe, O sage among the demigods, Adya, today, Drishtya, by good fortune, Naha, of us, Darshanam, audience, Gataha, you have come, Tava, your Chankramanam, movements, Brahman, O great Brahmana, Abhayaya, for fearlessness, Yata, as Ravehe, of the sun. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All the Prachetas began to address the great sage Narada. O great sage, O Brahmana, we hope you met with no disturbance while coming here. It is due to our great fortune that we are now able to see you. By the traveling of the sun, people are relieved from the fear of darkness of night, a fear brought about by thieves and rogues. Similarly, your traveling is like the sun's, for you drive away all kinds of fear. Purport. Because of the night's darkness, everyone is afraid of rogues and thieves, especially in great cities. People are often afraid to go out on the streets, and we understand that even in the great city like New York, people do not like to go out at night. More or less, when it is night, everyone is afraid, either in the city or in the village. However, as soon as the sun rises, everyone is relieved. Similarly, this material world is dark by nature. Everyone is afraid of danger at every moment. But when one sees a devotee like Narada, all fear is relieved. Just as the sun disappears, just as the sun disperses darkness, the appearance of great sages like Narada disperses ignorance. When one meets Narada or his representative as spiritual master, one is freed from all anxieties brought about by ignorance. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guraho Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it's a very amazing shloka which shows the welcoming of a great personality. So here the great personalities like the Prachetas, so they are welcoming another great personality, Narada. So here we see that nice comparison is given of the sun. Whenever the sun is actually traveling and wherever the sun actually is there, so it drives away all kinds of fear, for people. So the night is always, the darkness is always, it actually gives some kind of fear in the existence. And in the same way, the material darkness also, the definition of fear we quite often remember, Bhayam Vitiyad Abhiniveshatashyad. No, Ishadapetasya Viparyayomukaha. So when we turn our face away from Krishna, so Krishna is equivalent to sun, and then when we turn our face away from Krishna, so we find darkness. So what is the definition of darkness? Dvitiya, no? Bhayam Dvitiyad Abhiniveshatasya. So when we see the second reality, there is only one absolute truth that exists. And when we see there is another entity which is meaningful and which doesn't have its connection with Krishna, so then that is the potential, that is the darkness. No, that is the darkness that we are able to see. So, but in actuality, there is nothing that is independent of Krishna. Everything that exists is part and parcel of Krishna, and it has its connection with Krishna. So the moment I see something is different from Krishna, so that means I'm in darkness. I'm in ignorance. So like when this happens, so this is the root cause of all the fear. Srimad Bhagavatam defines the fear in this way. So the fear immediately actually comes. So here in the darkness, in the visible, or the darkness that is available to be perceived for the eyes. So when we perceive darkness, so we have fear of thieves, rogues, and no fear of even the terrain that we are walking in and things like that. So where I'm going to keep my step and stuffs like that. So much of different fears it actually causes. So in the same way, the ignorance, in a larger sense, the ignorance or darkness is the identification or seeing a reality which is different from Krishna. So then when that is there, even this is also a nice definition to remember, that when the Supreme Lord, he defines Maya to Brahma, right? So in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, so where he says that you are able to, if you are able to see something wonderful in this world, and if you are not able to see its connection with me, so then you can understand you are in Maya, right? So when this happens, a side effect is there is fear, and it's a very very apt this one comparison that is given. So the sun is actually illuminating, and a great personality like Narada, so they also illuminate. So how do they illuminate? So whenever we see a sadhu, whenever a sadhu actually speaks, or even he conducts himself and things like that, immediately he triggers the remembrance of the Lord. His presence is that it solidly, his presence actually solidly proves, or his activities and his whole conduct, actually solidly gives the remembrance that yes, everything is part and parcel of Krishna. Like Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, and we should worship Krishna. So this is very solidly evoked. This consciousness is very solidly evoked. So this, what is that shloka in the Maharaj Yudhishthir mentions this to Vidura, right? Tirtikurvanti tirthani swantastena gadavata. That is second last two lines. First is what? First two lines. Bhavat Vita Bhagavatas. So that one. So anyways, so this, in that shloka, it is very nicely, Yudhishthira Maharaj mentions that, these great sages like Vidura, great personalities, great devotees like Vidura, so they are capable of manifesting Krishna. They actually carry Krishna with them, and they are capable of manifesting Krishna anywhere, they want. So this is like, just like the radio signals are there, or even the Wi-Fi signal is there everywhere, but we need to have a proper receiver, to get access to that data, right? So in the same way, Krishna is there present everywhere, but we need to have a right receiver, right personality who can actually manifest Krishna to us. So these great devotees, they know how to actually manifest Krishna. They carry Krishna with them, and they can actually manifest Krishna anywhere they want. So this is very very amazing and apt a comparison that is given. So the sun actually carries the illumination, and then it distributes the illumination everywhere. In the same way, the great sages, so they also carry Krishna, who's comparison, who's actually the proper comparison of the sun. So now the sages are compared to the sun because they are carrying Krishna, so which is non-different from the sun actually, right? So they give the effect of the sun. So in that way, we see that it's a very, very apt comparison that is given. Okay, so now we study the purport. Because of night's darkness, everyone is afraid of rogues and thieves, especially in great cities. So people are often afraid to go out on the streets. And we understand that even in great cities like New York, people do not like to go out at night. So more or less, when it is night, everyone is afraid, either in the city or in the village. So now this goes to say that if we want to be free from the fear of material existence, so there is only one way. No, that is to take up to Krishna consciousness. So without Krishna consciousness, there are so many other ways are there. Just like the sinful life is full of fear only, and a dharmic life. If we see the karma yoga system, so even there is a lot of fear. There is attachment to the results that is there, and there is like a lot of uncertainties that actually comes. So in fact, it is mentioned that it is the practice of karma yoga. Srimad Bhagavatam actually compares it to abhadra. So nice karmyam api achyuta bhava varjitam na shobhanam jnanam alam niranjanam kuta puna shashwat abhadramishware. So this one is used. So nishkama karma and jnana is compared, saying that it doesn't have much glory without Krishna consciousness or without service to Krishna. And what to speak about that abhadra? That is karma yoga. So sakama karma. So it is it is mentioned that it's so this one. Why? Because it actually, because of its anticipation of the results, and wherever there is results are there, and we are attached to the results of our activities, it is going to be very, very troublesome. And it is going to be it is not going to be a very smooth sail and things like that. It's going to be very troublesome. So at least even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also, he explains various yoga systems, but the bare minimum thing is at least come to nishkama. Sakama karma yoga is it's been explained but not encouraged at any point in time. For any yogi, if he has to be a yogi, at least come to nishkama. So then we can think of giving a title of yogi to you. Otherwise, you're bogi only. So that way, it is very nice point. So this, even the process of nishkama and the jnana, so which is of very, very high quality, and people of this world will glorify it like anything. So, but then the Bhagavatam actually mentions that if we don't take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, so even this is of no use. It is not a very safe place to park ourselves. We will have to fall back. Aruhya kachena param padam tata patanti ada anadata ishmadangre. So without taking shelter of the Lord, so we will not be able to have shelter at that particular level. So we cannot continue on that particular level. Always there is a fear. Till when? Even if I get liberation and floating in Brahma Jyoti, till when? That question is always there. So I have to fall at certain point in time. So that question is there. So the happiness is not uninterrupted. It is going to be interrupted at certain point in time. It's only the supreme ashraya, the ultimate ashraya, that is lotus feet of Krishna. So that is the only place where we can actually safely park ourselves and throw away this question till when? So I'll be there. I'm experiencing happiness. So one is experiencing misery. That is very, very pathetic. Another is you're experiencing happiness, but with a time, this one. 5 minute hai. 5 minute ka baad again misery. So it is not a very happy situation actually. So the third one is happiness is there and forever. So that is possible only at only when we take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. So we see that this darkness to some level, it continues, till the point of anything less than taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna or anything less than bhakti yoga. So this darkness always, it actually continues. So, however, as soon as the sun rises, everyone is relieved. Similarly, this material world is dark by nature. So, everyone is afraid of dangers at every moment. But when one sees a devotee like Narada, all fear is relieved. So, everyone is afraid of dangers at every moment. What is that shloka? So, Samashitaye Padapallava Plavam, Mahat Padam Punyesho Murare, Babambudil, Vatsa Padam, Param Padam Yat Vipadam Natesha. So it is like one who has taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So which is just like a boat, which is capable of crossing the living entity across the material ocean and then take him to the Param Padam. And many great personalities have done this, and they have taken this boat. And the acharyas explain how is the boat still there. If they have taken the boat, then how is it still there? So, moment you board the boat, the whole material ocean becomes just like a small water contained in calf's hoof print. And then board the boat, and then they don't get down. They remain on board. So they take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So in that way, we see that, and those people, and for them, for such people who are expert at taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, so for them, the goal is not this material world. So, and this material world is given an adjective, padam yat vipadam natesha. So, they don't get interest in this material world where there is no danger at every step. So, what is this material world all about? So material world or material vision means seeing the Dvitiya reality, seeing the second reality that is there, right? So it's like everyone is afraid of danger at every moment. So, but when one sees a devotee like Narada, all fear is relieved. So this we can see in many cases. So like in many cases, Narad Muni, in the case of Maharaj Chitraketu, he was in so much of grief. And moment he meets Narad Muni, he becomes completely relieved. He hears Narad Muni, then he becomes completely relieved. And then we see that Maharaj Raghugana also, he was having so much of anxiety that his palanquin carrier is not carrying properly, So, and he was like getting into anger and he was like chastising him and things like that. But then the moment he heard the words of wisdom from the mouth of Jadabharat, so immediately his ignorance is dispelled and he becomes very happy. He becomes solidly situated. So in this way, we see the classic example of Vyasadeva. After writing all the Vedic scriptures, he was like so much disturbed. And then the moment Narad Muni appears, and then he shares his words of wisdom, and then he manifests Krishna. Practically, that is the way of manifesting Krishna. So when he sees a manifestation of Krishna properly, so then it becomes then he becomes completely satisfied. So somebody may say okay, Vedic literatures are non-different from Krishna. It is called as the Shabda Brahma, and he is the author of Shabda Brahma, right? So he is put forward, at least he has been the via medium, to put forward all the Shabda Brahma. And then still, how we can say that he is not having the darshan of the Lord. He is not having param drishtva. Why he is still in anxiety and things like that. So it is not just this is one very important principle we have been focusing in our studies, so that the holy name is there, the Bhagavatam is there, but we cannot force force them to give darshan. So the holy name can be there, but still we need to be following the right process. We need to have the humility. We need to have the right process of approach, and through the medium of spiritual master, through the medium of our Srila Prabhupada, Panchatattva, and Radha Krishna. So the process, through the Guru Parampara, so that's a very essential process. And that is the way we will be able to access the Lord, through access the Lord. Otherwise, we will not be able to access the Lord. Even the author of the Bhagavatam, author of all the Vedic literatures. So after writing all the Vedic literatures, which is non-different from the Supreme Lord, Shabda Brahma, so but still he was in anxiety. So how can a person of doing such such an amazing feat, can be in anxiety? So when Narad Muni appears, he actually gives the proper he actually enlightens Vyasadeva, in such a way that immediately after that enlightenment, he's able to see the Lord, he's able to see all the living entities, he's able to see how the Maya is there in the background of the Lord. So everything he's able to see crystal clear, and then he understands, like he gets a practical realization of everything that exists is part and parcel of Krishna. And after that, he is satisfied. After that, there is no more anxiety. So this is what happens. So when we meet with a devotee who's properly practicing and who's properly surrendered in the Guru Parampara, so then like he can actually be relieved of his own anxieties, and he can actually relieve others' anxieties also, right? So when we take shelter of such a person, so like our ignorance gets dispersed, and then we will be able to have a darshan of the Lord, and then we will be able to be at peace, or we don't need to be there in material anxiety. So of course, spiritual anxiety is very good. So when will we get the center, and when will we, when will we open some new preaching areas and stuff like that? So that anxiety is good. So, but material anxiety, the nature of material anxiety is it is destructive. The nature of spiritual anxiety is it is constructive actually. So in spiritual and material, we see in spiritual bliss and spiritual misery, in both the places, the essential experiences of bliss only. And then the material bliss and material anxiety, we see that in both the things, the essential experiences like misery only. Just like when a person is smoking the cigarette, that time he feels he is enjoying, and then later when he gets cancer, he feels he's suffering. But first time also he was burning his lungs only, and later he was suffering. And spiritual happiness and anxiety, we see when we meet the Lord, when devotees meet the Lord, there is bliss. And when they're in separation, also it is bliss only. So even the anxiety or even the misery in the spiritual realm, it is essentially, it gives the like experience of bliss only. So in the material things, it may appear to be blissful, but essentially it gives the experience of misery only, right? So that is how it is. So we see that sometimes the doctors tell that if somebody is heart patient, don't tell him anything good, anything very happy, or don't tell him anything very sad. Both will affect him. So essentially, it is destructive only. So happiness and distress of material things is essentially a distress. And the example given is just like the camel eating the cactus. So that is the essential experience of material happiness. So, and the spiritual side, like anxieties and miseries, are welcome, and it is good. So because it increases one's remembrance to Krishna, and more one is remembering Krishna, and more he is in the sun, and there is no darkness. So if there is no darkness, then there is no anxiety. Okay. So in this way, we see that it dissipates darkness. And when one meets Narada or his representative, a spiritual master, one is freed from all anxiety brought about by ignorance. Right? So this is the essential benefit of meeting a great personality, so that they can actually infuse Krishna consciousness into our system. So they can actually, because they are fully in Krishna consciousness. It is mentioned, Raghunath Das Goswami actually mentions that. So when we associate with great personalities, it is just like in the mirror actually takes on the reflection of the object which is there in the front. So in the same way, so when we are in association of great personalities, we also kind of reflect off the qualities which they have. So like at least immediately those things will happen, and then over a period of time, so we can acquire the qualities ourselves also. So in this way, like the association of great personalities, they infuse and induce Krishna consciousness into our system. So with this, I pause today's discussion. Any questions or comments you can take? Any question? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The point that you made, that how it is material anxiety is destructive and spiritual anxiety is constructive, that is very nice. Because in spiritual anxiety, the person is in remembrance of the Lord, and so is not in the darkness. And darkness leads to the pain and suffering in this world. So we should always be in spiritual anxiety.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for the class. So you mentioned the concept of what is bhaya, how when something we find it as a reality and that does not trigger in us the remembrance of Krishna, then that is Maya. So that's how a sadhaka always is very careful about his consciousness. You mentioned that the sadhu triggers the remembrance of the Lord by his conduct. So even various Prabhupada memories, we saw that a sadhu is very expert in converting all mundane ritualistic atmosphere into a transcendental festival like blissful Krishna conscious experience. So sadhu is very expert at doing that. You mentioned that even good things like Gyan, Karma, and Yoga have no value without that application of Krishna consciousness. What to speak of things which are sinful. Finally, you mentioned that after meeting great personalities like Narada, one becomes fearless. So even in the previous chapters, we saw in case of Prachina Barhishat, it was being mentioned that this old age Jara first met Narad Muni, but she could not influence him. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that anybody who's following in the footsteps of Narad Muni is fearless. Their enthusiasm to serve Krishna will never be compromised by things like old age and other things. So what to speak of Narad Muni if one walks in the, even if one somehow tries to become a servant of Narad Muni, they become fearless. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. The point you said, like in the material world, happiness and distress are both giving a lot of anxiety, but in spiritual world, uh, uh, the distress and happiness both gives like a lot of bliss, because that will be in the remembrance of the Lord. But in this material world, when someone feel happy, they forget Krishna. But somehow when they are in distress, they remember Krishna something. Like at least they approach the one who was distressed, they approach Lord. And when you are saying about that fear, I just remember the pastime where Gopas entering into the snake mouth, and they know that no, this is a snake which we never seen. Somewhere it came out, and they know that Krishna is there. So why to fear? So they without fear, they just enter into the inside. They think that yes, Krishna is there to protect. So one who has having full faith that no, Lord is there and fully conscious meditate on the Lord 24 hours, then they don't have any fear, because Krishna is there always with them. And like as you said, like and that Bengali proverb, uh, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya nahi andhakar, Jahar Krishna, Taha nahi Maya adhikar. So wherever Krishna is there, there is no ignorance. So there is no chance of Maya, like putting us or acting on us, because Krishna is personally taking care. So when Krishna is there, then he is Abhaya, like who is giving confidence, like he'll take out all the fear from us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your lecture. The point I've taken down this point where happiness and misery on the material platform are destructive in nature. A very nice example where good news or bad news for a heart patient is always dangerous. So it will eventually lead to misery. So that's a very nice example, Puji. And you gave this very nice point about how just by the sight, the thought, the presence of a sadhu will help us revive our Krishna consciousness. Just like how the sun dissipates the darkness with the light. Similarly, just by the presence, we can revive. We'll be able to. Krishna was present in their heart,
will they are able to manifest Krishna themselves, and they're able to elevate us to a higher platform and help us overcome our misery. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, it's a really nice sloka. And especially this sun dispels darkness and fear. And a few devotees like Narada, they give enlightenment and realization of the Lord. Nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you are telling how when we see something different from Krishna, that leads to Bhayam, and when we see in the connection with Krishna, it leads to Abhayam. So in this context, I have one question, Prabhu. So this, what is the meaning of becoming fearless when we see in something in connection with Krishna, Prabhu? Like, is it the faith that Krishna will protect me, and does this leads to fearlessness, or what exactly leads to fearlessness, Prabhu?
Fearlessness, what exactly leads to fearlessness? Because they're able to see only Krishna everywhere. No, so even a demon appears in front. No, like this was a practical testimony by Prahlad Maharaj. So when like Hiranyakashipu asked, "Where is your power coming from?" So then he mentions that it is from the same source as your power, right? So that means all the while he was seeing the power of Hiranyakashipu as Krishna himself, right? So like, and Krishna is his best well-wishing friend, no suhudam sarva bhutana, right? So when my best well-wishing friend is there in front of me, what is the fear that I have? So that is the thing that it brings about. So when there is no Dvitiya reality, there is only one. No, I'm able to see only Krishna as the absolute truth, and everything that exists as part and parcel of Krishna. And that Krishna is very merciful. And that Krishna is very, what is that? No, he's my best well-wishing friend. So then, how can I be fearful? So one time, like, I heard this example that can I be fearful of my own hand? No, so it is not possible. No, so my own hand will not beat me at any time. So in the same way, like, can I be fearful of my own relatives and parents and things like that? So yeah, sometimes the parents may beat. No, but it is for my well-being only. So it is something like that, or it's more than that. Now we are part and parcel of Krishna, and even the challenging situations that comes in front of us, that is also like Krishna himself. So when a pure devotee, who is very advanced in consciousness, he's able to see everything in connection with Krishna. So like, he doesn't get fear because he sees only Krishna. Stavar jangama deke na deke taramurti sarvadate ke ishtadeva spurti, right? So he's seeing only Krishna everywhere. So because of that, he doesn't get any fear. When he sees another entity, whether be it a demon like Hiranyakashipu or be it a friend, of material friend, who's something different from him, something different from him and something different from the Lord. So then it is potential cause of fear. There is a potential cause of fear. So like a fear, definitely it will be there. In a different form, actually. So in the materially, like people talk about, this is my friend, this is my relatives, this is my security and things like that. But actually, inward, we'll see that there is a potential fear that is there. Not just potential fear, a fear in the seed form, it is always there. The essential experience is of fear only. So, but in the spiritually speaking, like whatever may happen, like they're able to see Krishna everywhere. So they are able to have Krishna's, perceive Krishna's presence everywhere. So essentially, it is only of happiness, the fearlessness that is there. So fearlessness is a basic quality, right? And top of it, like, then know how to understand the fear of gopis for Krishna. So that is like a big purport has to be given on that. So, but essential feeling is of fearlessness. And on top of it, there is fearfulness. It's a rasa. Particular rasa is there. And the material consciousness, the essential quality is fearfulness, and on top of it, somebody may exhibit fearlessness. But that is not the actual fearlessness. So like that.
There's a question: is there a way to convert material anxiety to spiritual anxiety?
Is there a way to convert material anxiety to spiritual anxiety? Yes, like if we add Krishna into the system, so if we are able to see things in a proper Krishna conscious perspective, so then immediately it can be changed. So like just like we have skills, and we use that skills for Krishna's service. So in the same way, like if there is any anxiety, so that can also be changed to spiritual anxiety. So like we don't know like if there is any specific scenario, so then we can think about like that, how to convert. So it is mentioned that anxiety is always there, so then why not take anxiety for Krishna? So if there is a struggle for like making a livelihood and things like that, so then why not struggle for Krishna and struggle for making Krishna's mission more successful and things like that. So either way we are supposed to struggle, so we can struggle for something higher. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So this point was very nice regarding definition of fear. That is bhayam dutin abhiniveshatasya. So when we see another reality, something which is apart from Krishna, when we are not able to see something connection with Krishna, then that is darkness, and that is the root cause of fear. If we are able to see everything in a proper perspective in its relation to Krishna, then our fear automatically gets dissipated. And this second thing regarding taking, that we should take spiritual anxieties, because those are always constructive, and whereas material anxieties are always destructive. And as you mentioned, like anxieties will always be there. If we don't take spiritual anxieties, will be anxious for something material. So we should just change that in a proper direction.
So another aspect is that it's like people take management or in teaching and things like that, and sometimes they get fried out. That means they have gone to material plane. On spiritual plane, they cannot get fried out. It's only on the material plane. So we see that nobody can take such anxieties like the gopis of Vrindavan. They are not fried out. They're continuing for years and years and years together. So that means we have come to the material plane. So we have to see that how to put ourselves on spiritual plane. Constantly we have to work on that aspect. So that's the main, this one of someone's substance of morning program. So how to actually put ourselves back on spiritual plane. So when we deal with things of this material world, so we will even like invariably like we get affected by the material disease. So the morning program, the morning time is there for us to again rejuvenate, again put ourselves back on spiritual plane. So if that is weak, then we will become affected by the material things. And the sign of our spiritual weakness is that we will get fried out. This. So in anxieties when we get
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. अब बताइए कि भागवतम एंड भगवत गीता और होली नेम इजीली अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगा अगर हम स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर का शेल्टर लेंगे तो. और क्या द प्योर डिवोटी ऑफ कृष्णा डू नॉट फियर बिकॉज दे सी एवरीवेयर इन कृष्णा's प्रेजेंस लाइक प्रहलाद महाराज. हरे कृष्ण.